Hour.
A heartbreaking end to the search for Brandon Crisp. Why his body may have been missed during previous searches.
What do we want? Job security!
Classes suspended as a strike by teaching assistants hit students at York University. How long they could be out of class.
And a family's near-death experience. A Global News special report on a dangerous waterway.
All you can think about is what if, what if, what if.
Unfortunately, this weather pattern is changing. We may even see snow in some areas this weekend.
And it's the latest treatment for migraines, how doctors are now using Botox for the pain.
From the Global Newsroom in Toronto, here are Leslie Roberts and Anne-Marie Meadoway.
Good evening. Thanks for joining us. There are still many unanswered questions surrounding the tragic death of 15-year-old Brandon Crisp, but so far, foul play hasn't been ruled out. The
15-year-old's body was found in a wooded area near Barrie yesterday, more than 3 weeks after he left his home after a fight with his parents over video games. Daryl Kneinenbelt has been speaking with investigators.
It was anything but a routine class day.
Not seeing Brandon there one day, it's extremely shocking. I'm taking it very hard.
Just how Brandon Crisp died is part of a complex forensic puzzle.
There's dental records being collected to allow comparison to confirm the identity of the decedent that was discovered.
But the mystery surrounding the teen's death,
it's too early to rule out foul play,
remains unsolved. Brandon Crisp was a keen online gamer. The 15-year-old ran away from home Thanksgiving Monday after getting into an argument with his parents over his gaming habits. Brandon fled his home on his yellow bike. Police say the last person who saw him was an unnamed witness who recalled seeing the boy on a trail trying to fix his broken bike. That was 3 p.m. in the afternoon, the last time he was seen alive. Assuming it was Brandon's body, it was found just beyond that tree line. But that's about 4 kilometers from where Brandon had originally ditched his yellow bike down the biking trail. So that raises a question. How did Brandon get here? Did someone drive him down this road, or did Brandon just keep walking and simply got lost? But then that raises another question. How do you get lost with so many farmhouses around you?
Unless at night he got a little, mistaken where he was, and maybe, being a city young kid, he didn't, where to go.
And so many theories of what could have happened. Outdoor survival experts also weighing into the mystery based on the temperatures of the time of his disappearance, which range from wintry to warm.
Certainly, the conditions were there that a person could perish from hypothermia, but depending on the teenager, because a lot of them are quite resilient, I think they could have survived.
The family now waits for closure. Once the autopsy is done, Brandon's body will be returned to his parents. Daryl Kneinenbelt, Global News.
Now, because a dispute between Brandon and his parents is central to this story, we're going to take a look at parent-child conflict resolution tonight. That's coming up later in the news hour.
In other news now, we're learning new details tonight about that terrifying moments following a freak truck accident on the 427 in QEW. Tonight, our Catherine McDonald speaks with one of the survivors still in a hospital trauma ward. It's a story you'll only see here.
I'm up and down ladders.
Despite a fractured pelvis and a crushed knee, Robert Van Winsen is counting his blessings after nearly being killed early Wednesday morning.
He's lucky to be alive. I'm amazed. This is the first real good picture I've seen today.
The 46-year-old husband and father of 2 was on his way to work from Mississauga to the movie network in downtown Toronto when his car was crushed by a falling rig and debris.
I don't remember us driving, and then something at the corner of my eye I saw. And then there was a bang, and then it was like just wreckage everywhere.
53-year-old Harry Taylor succumbed to the injuries he sustained when his Acura was crushed. Van Winsen and his wife say despite their own worries, they are thinking of his family.
It happened. It's so sad that someone had to die as a result of this. I mean, she's lost her father and husband and everything. So, I mean, your life, like even my life, just for that split second, it's changed now.
For the Van Winsens and others, there is disbelief that a truck could simply fall off an overpass, critically injuring and killing those below.
I feel lucky when I see the picture that I came through it alive. I'm ticked off that it happened, though, because you never know what will happen in the end. I mean, they're going to reconstruct my knee, but like you said, that you're guaranteed to have arthritis in the future. So.
For now, though, Robert Van Winsen and his wife just want to focus on his recovery. They say it will be a long road ahead.
You just got to take it day by day right now.
Catherine McDonald, Global News.
To the courts next, and the case of a young, promising hockey player brutally killed right here on the streets of Toronto. Well, tonight there is a verdict in the case, and we get that from Global's Gus Kim.
Friends and family of the convicted killer leave court somewhat relieved. a jury has found Nicholas Crowdis guilty of manslaughter. He avoids a murder conviction in the high-profile beating death of college hockey player Michael Serba.
It's just a set of unfortunate circumstances. If anybody had made some different choices, none of this would have happened.
The 25-year-old MBA student was killed in November of 2006, kicked to death and hit with a brick by a complete stranger, Nicholas Crowdis. It led to an outpouring of grief in Toronto, not to mention at Vermont College, where Serba played hockey.
And our heartfelt sympathy to his entire family.
But the trial also revealed that Serba had been drinking that night. Just before his altercation, he complained to friends that someone had sucker punched him. He left upset. Crowdis, the man he encountered, was high on crack.
He was being chased by 5 large men, one of whom was over 260 pounds. And they were very threatening and so on, and he was in fear of his life.
Michael Serba's family was holding and looking at photos of him when the jury walked back in the courtroom. But after they delivered a verdict of manslaughter, the grandmother stood up and said, "No, this is cold-blooded murder." Serba's family was overwhelmed with disappointment and left the court abruptly. Friends of Crowdis wanted an acquittal, but are grateful he averted a murder conviction.
He was incredibly artistic and very kind. He would never hurt anybody.
But Crowdis did kill someone, whether he meant to or not. He'll be sentenced early next year. Gus Kim, Global News.
Well, today definitely, Anthony, was the best of the run.
It's debatable. Yeah, they're all about the same, actually, temperature-wise and cloud cover-wise. Not a cloud in the sky once again. Now, tomorrow, we're going to start that transition. Doesn't mean it's going to be much cooler. In fact, it's still going to be just as warm. But we are expecting temperatures to drop and eventually clouds and showers to arrive as well. Here's a look at how nice it was today. 17 in Toronto. We had that wind slightly off the lake. That's why it's cooler than everywhere around it. 21 Wyerton, 20 Muskoka. Record just being crushed in Kingston by almost 6 degrees. Record in North Bay, Sudbury, Sault Ste. Marie. Record just crushed there as well. 21 in Windsor. So just fantastic weather. To end the week, we are talking about an increase in clouds pushing in from the west. These clouds will eventually have showers with them, and we're taking a look at newly formed tropical storm Paloma. It is intensifying rather rapidly. I'll tell you where this is going. Plus, of course, your all-important weekend forecast coming up as well, guys.
See you later. Thanks.
Well, November is typically a time when university students are facing the pressures of midterms. But tonight, students at York are under pressure of a very different kind. Our Global One News chopper over York University this hour, where picket lines have been set up. It's been a day of frustration and anger as thousands of workers at York went on strike. And that's where we find our Shirley Engel tonight. Shirley.
Well, Anne-Marie, day one of picketing here at the main entrance to the campus is just winding down, as you can see behind me. GO and TTC buses still aren't crossing these lines, dropping students off outside. And other than libraries, administration, and some select school activities, this campus is grinded to a halt.
If you guys want to ask for all your demands, it will be
nerves afraid.
We're asking you to wait for 2 minutes.
Okay, I can't. My exam is starting.
There won't be any exams until a dispute between York University and the union representing 3,400 teaching assistants and contract staff is resolved.
What do we want? Job security! What do we want? Now!
They walked off the job at midnight after rejecting the university's latest offer of a 9.25% wage hike over 2 years. The union wants 11% tied to the cost of living.
Wages are not the major sticking issue at this point. It's the fact that they're trying to gut our benefits, our funds, our leaves, and job security.
Many picketers say they're on the brink of poverty.
I'm living in one room in a house full of 11 people. It's crowded, you know, just so I can afford to live.
This is the second strike at York in just 7 years. The last one dragged on for 11 weeks. In an effort to avoid the confusion caused back in 2001, officials have decided to cancel all classes this time around.
Neither side will speculate about how long this walkout will last. This spokesman says the university can't afford to meet teachers' demands in today's economy. York's endowment fund is down 15%.
We have offered a fair contract to the union based on the settlements that we've had with 2 other unions very recently here.
Some 50,000 students are now in limbo, and though many are frustrated,
go do your jobs.
Their federation is backing the teachers.
We're urging the university to give these people a fair deal.
These union members behind me say they're going to be back at it tomorrow morning early, doing the exact same thing, stopping cars for 2 minutes each, trying to get their message out. Now, whose move is next year is still unclear tonight. The university has offered the union binding arbitration, but the union has rejected that, saying they believe the two sides are so far apart, they don't think their interests would be served that way. However, they do acknowledge the longer this goes on, the more it hurts the students. They do admit they may have to reconsider that decision down the road. Anne-Marie?
Just the beginning of this story. Shirley Engel live out at York University. Thanks, Shirley.
Another fight is brewing at Toronto City Hall tonight. It all revolves around a newsletter being sent to every home in Toronto. Critics are questioning the content of the handout, but also raising the alarm about the price tag. Here's our City Hall reporter, Jackson Prosco.
Around Toronto City Hall, there's one document that's capturing all the attention, a new city newsletter being sent to every home at taxpayers' expense.
There's one reference to the mayor on the front page. There's a message from the mayor. There's the mayor's picture. There's the mayor with respect to handguns.
As Councillor Mike Delgrand points out, the Our Toronto newsletter spends an awful lot of time talking about our mayor.
This is taxpayer-funded monies being used to basically promote the mayor.
The words mayor or David Miller appear on 11 of 24 pages, almost half the newsletter. City councillors only found out about the city's newest publication when it arrived in their offices this morning.
At a quick glance of this, it seems to me that there's a lot of the mayor's policies in here.
City councillors have long had their own newsletters that they pay for out of their office budgets, but Our Toronto, well, that's paid for out of the city's budget.
What this newsletter does is it outlines the political accomplishments of the mayor. So it is a political document.
The city plans 4 editions of Our Toronto next year. Total cost $850,000. The mayor isn't apologizing for the content.
And this publication is about the programs that the city is doing, and it's about information that people need.
Here's making seniors heard at City Hall, the mayor.
City councillors are promising a fight over the publication. The city needs council approval to spend another $400,000 on the Our Toronto paper to keep spreading its word. Now, your copy of this newsletter should arrive in the mail in the next few weeks. You will find information about city programs and services. There's the city's new garbage bins on page 15. But by the time you've gotten to this information, you'll have sorted through about 6 different articles that mention the mayor or at least reference him in one way or another. Leslie?
Interesting. Jackson Prosco live at City Hall tonight. Thank you, Jackson.
And Toronto City Council also taking first steps tonight towards an environmental reporting strategy. It would require any business using one of 25 toxic chemicals to publicly report the information on a new city website. Residents would be able to find out which chemicals are being used in their neighborhoods.
Well, now to a cautionary tale for people who like to enjoy the great outdoors, especially Ontario's waterways. Dangers can lurk just around the corner and threaten your life with very little warning. Case in point, a low-level dam near Washego, north of Orillia, the scene of some very close calls recently. Our Christina Stevens takes us there in tonight's special report.
This is nothing compared to the day Stephen Littman, his wife and nephew nearly drowned here when water levels were high and the dam wide open. They rounded a bend on a jet ski and suddenly found themselves in rushing white water.
We got turned sideways with the current. It capsized.
The force of the water threw him and his 6-year-old nephew against a bridge pylon. The boy's torso wrapped around it and he was underwater.
I pulled my body down and I'm now looking at this boy under the water with his body squished against this pylon and bubbles coming out of his mouth and just sheer panic on his face.
Battered, cut, and bruised, the family managed to scramble ashore before being swept over the dam itself. It turns out there was a warning sign, but it was impossible to see until it was too late. Littman says they begged the OPP and Parks Canada to do something, but were ignored.
So just imagine a few days later when he found out another family had gotten sucked into the current, and this one wasn't as lucky. 2 adults and 2 little girls were swept right over the dam.
Area residents say there were as many as 4 similar incidents here this summer, but still Parks Canada refused to do anything. They also refused to talk to us on advice of their lawyer. But in a letter to the victims, they say the warning signs here actually exceeded the existing standard. After weeks of pressure, there's finally a new sign, but it may be temporary, and both the victims and some locals say it's so far from the dam as to be ineffective.
They should have a net somewhere either on this side of the bridge or the other side of the bridge.
Another resident suggests the floodgate should not be wide open again.
The current seemed to be
faster than what I've seen it so far. It was quite strong, and it was going by here pretty good.
Low-level dams are probably one of the most dangerous structures on any waterway.
But this OPP Marine Unit officer insists its boater beware.
You must make sure the condition of the waterways that you're going into, you must know where you're going to.
Littman says they just want reassurances something more will be done before boating season resumes in the spring to make sure no other family goes through what they did or worse.
All you can think about is what if.
Now, just a few hours ago, I was on the phone with a man from North Bay who is one of the people who helped rescue the second family we mentioned with the two 9-year-old girls who actually went over the dam. He agrees with the victims in saying there was not adequate warning. And we would like to hear from anyone else who has a similar story on that dam or another. And we'll be following it up before boating season resumes next spring.
Thanks, Christina.
Toronto police say the latest effort to get guns off the street is a success. Today, officers showed off just a fraction of the 359 guns and 10,000 rounds of ammunition turned in under the new Pixels for Pistols program. The campaign allows people to give up their weapons in exchange for a free camera.
The process to surrender firearms is very straightforward. Members of the public can simply contact the Toronto Police Service at 416-808-2222, and an officer will be dispatched to their location to retrieve the firearm.
Organizers of the Pixels for Pistols program stress that firearms should not be brought to any police station.
In other news now, U.S. President-elect Barack Obama has made his first big decision as he prepares for his transition to the White House. Obama has chosen Illinois Representative Rahm Emanuel as his White House Chief of Staff. Republicans already blasting the selection for a president-elect who has promised to change Washington. Emanuel, who is nicknamed Rombo, is a partisan Democratic congressman. But he was a tireless get-it-done staffer for former Democratic President Bill Clinton.
My parents are alive to see their middle son have a choice in his career between being a congressman with one chance, one opportunity down the road of maybe rising in the leadership, and being the chief of staff to a historic presidency at a historic time.
Meantime, outgoing President George W. Bush today promised a smooth transition between now and Obama's January 20th inauguration. Still to come on the News Hour, causes and cures for the most common kind of pain in the world.
Is it intense pain? It's either throbbing and pounding like a heartbeat in the head.
Whether it's a migraine, tension, or sinus, headaches can cause excruciating pain. Well, tonight we look for some relief in Family Health.
Also, a surprising connection between migraines and breast cancer. We'll explain after the break.
Deck the halls with boughs of holly. Hi, everybody. I'm Susan Hay at Santa's Secret Warehouse, and it's that time of year when we find out who's on that naughty or nice list.
Susan! Santa wants to see you.
Oh, did I not make it on that list again?
Stay tuned.
Buying natural doesn't have to cost more. The Brick's best-selling Natural Start Sleep Set featuring Serta's natural latex with wool and bamboo sells for $15.99. Now, until they're gone, they're only $9.99. Save $600 only at the Brick.
Preference? Just for blondes? Take another look. L'Oreal Superior Preference creates color rich like caramel for up to 8 weeks. And inside this little conditioner, liquid gold. So to all you brunettes, redheads, yes, even you blondes, take a good look. Superior Preference by L'Oreal.
Introducing Flex. It pushes all the right buttons.
Dairy Queen Iron Grilled sandwiches are so awesome. I don't know why they don't iron grill other things, like the Blizzard.
Oh, that's why.
Oven roasted seasoned turkey and melty cheese, all on crispy warm panini bread. The Iron Grilled sandwich.
When arthritis pain strikes, you want relief fast. You also want it to last. Trust Tylenol Arthritis so you can get back to normal.
Just be yourself.
Whatever your normal is. Tylenol Arthritis. The first layer relieves pain fast. The other keeps working for all-day relief of arthritis pain.
Just be yourself.
Tylenol Arthritis. Get back to normal, whatever your normal is.
Remember these 3 letters: P, G, X.
Coming up, the newest twist in Ryan and Rachel's romance.
Welcome back. Time for your family's health and our continuing series on pain.
And tonight we focus on the pain that happens between your ears. Our health specialist, Beatrice Politi, has more.
If you can believe it, there are about 300 different kinds of headaches. And they range from a dull kind of throbbing to the feeling of daggers in your eyes. Whatever the cause, the most important thing for sufferers is getting relief, something that can be difficult for a lot of people. Every 10 weeks or so, Catherine Seaton endures this pain to deal with another.
Okay, a little pinprick.
They're Botox injections.
Well, it decreases the flow of chemicals in the nerves and muscles, and that allows to have the less pain.
Seaton's here to ward off migraine headaches.
Since I have been receiving injections of Botox, the duration of the migraine is decreased, as well as the severity.
Seaton has had migraines since she was a child. A car accident 15 years ago made them more intense and led to other types of chronic pain.
It's shame-based, having pain. I feel that I should be able to tough it out or get through it.
It's just one of the misconceptions Dr. Christine Lay hopes to sweep away.
Push.
She's heading up a new center dedicated to headache at Women's College Hospital.
Okay. There's probably about 3 million Canadians who suffer with migraine. Of those, probably half are not diagnosed.
Tension headaches usually feel like a band around the head. In sinus headaches, there's pressure over the cheeks. They usually come with fever, chills, and a runny nose. Cluster headaches occur more often in men than women and involve excruciating pain around one eye. Migraines are caused when a nerve responsible for facial movement releases chemicals that make blood vessels swell. The pain registers in the brainstem, which sends pain signals to the head.
For most patients, it's an intense pain. It's either throbbing and pounding like a heartbeat in the head.
There are drugs available to treat migraine called triptans, but they don't work for everyone. Other drugs are preventative. Seaton has tried 38 different kinds of medications. Turns out she's missing an enzyme to metabolize most drugs, so she's had to find non-drug treatments, including exercise, massage, and physiotherapy.
I realized that I had to learn to live well with pain, not conquer pain, steeped as our society is in the triumph over illness story.
3 out of 4 migraine sufferers are women, but men, children, the elderly can all be affected, so there's no migraine type, as they say.
People who have migraines obviously know that there are drugs out there, but you try to avoid it whenever possible. What are some tips so that you can avoid the drugs if you want to?
One of the things that contributes or can be a lifestyle factor. So if you know that there are certain triggers, things like red wine or your menstrual cycle or the weather, though we can't control that part, pay attention to those. Also, another important thing is to stay hydrated. Eat often during the day, particularly protein at the morning meal, and getting routine sleep is apparently very important as well. This is in addition, of course, to proper diagnosis and finding the medications that work for you, because there are so many out there. Some work for some work for others. And tomorrow we're going to be talking about chronic pain in children, a population we probably don't think about a lot when we think about pain. In other family health news tonight, in a puzzling twist, women with a history of migraine headaches are far less likely to develop breast cancer than other women. That's the conclusion of researchers at the Hutchinson Cancer Center in Seattle. The study is the first to look at the relationship between breast cancer and migraines. So what exactly is the correlation? Well, scientists aren't sure, but the answer could one day point to new ways of reducing a woman's risk of breast cancer. Giving CPR in the moments after a heart attack can mean the difference between life and death. Now, thanks to a new initiative announced at an EMS station this morning, more people will be trained in the practice. Free CPR lessons are being offered in 13 Toronto communities. Along with the courses, 80 automated external defibrillators are being placed across the GTA. And if you haven't done it yet, now is a good time to check your child's haul of Halloween candies. That's because one youngster in Pickering, if you can believe it, found a Dayquil cold capsule inside a small package of Smarties. There are unconfirmed reports of similar discoveries. Anyone with information should call Crime Stoppers. So double check those loot bags for sure.
Yeah, we hear these stories every year. Another reminder to check the candy.
Especially when the candy is distributed over weeks. So
exactly.
That was a good reminder.
Exactly.
Thanks.
You're welcome. Well, is bigger really better when it comes to retail shopping?
I'm Sean O'Shea. These are tough times for some retailers, but shoppers still love a bargain, and warehouse sales could be the place to find them. I'll have that story coming up tonight on Consumer SOS.
Speaking of shopping, new stories emerge about Sarah Palin's shopping habits. Did she go overboard on clothes for her entire family? We're checking into that.
And it was a record-setting lottery win. We'll introduce you to a group of co-workers who will never have to work again.
It's been a beautiful week weather-wise, but what's normal November weather? Well, we'll find out this weekend, or you'll find out in my forecast coming up.
Your child's future in jeopardy. A stock market slump means saving for your child's education just got risky. RESPs find out what your investment means in today's economy.
Your family, your city, your news. The News Hour, tomorrow at 6 on Global.
Happening right now, a Mississauga man is counting his blessings, having survived his car being crushed yesterday by a falling tractor trailer. Robert Van Winsen suffered a fractured pelvis and crushed knee when the rig fell from the 427 onto the QEW. 53-year-old Harry Taylor from Oakville was killed. 2 other people were injured.
Classes remain cancelled at York University over a strike by teaching assistants and contract staff. They walked off the job at midnight after rejecting the university's latest offer. It left 50,000 students in limbo. This is the second strike at York in 7 years. The last one, back in 2001, dragged on for 11 weeks.
And still many unanswered questions for the family of Brandon Crisp. An autopsy will be done tomorrow on a body believed to be that of the 15-year-old. He was found in a farmer's field outside Barrie yesterday, more than 3 weeks after leaving home following a fight with his parents over video games.
And the story of Brandon Crisp is riddled with what-ifs. What if the argument between Brandon and parents never happened? What if the parents were able to curb their son's growing obsession with video games? If nothing else, this tragedy underscores the importance of quickly resolving arguments between parents and children. We get more now from Mike Edgell.
For the Crisp family, the point of conflict was this video game. For Edvaldo, he says it was his parents' lack of patience. 3 years ago, at 15, he left home. His message for families?
Trust me, if the parents just sit down just for half an hour or 20 minutes, if you sit down with your kid and you talk to them and you ask them what's the problem and how you can help them, that's the best thing.
Tell me a little bit more what's going on. And
Cheryl Lynn Roberts has heard similar stories as a counselor for Kids Help Phone.
When kids leave, it's usually because they feel they're not listened to, that someone there doesn't understand.
Obviously, every family is dealing with a different dynamic, but one thing some experts tell us can't be underestimated, and that is timing, setting expectations early on.
Rick Owens is a counselor and father. His kids are into video games, but he made sure to set the ground rules before the hobby got out of control.
We see that it changes your behavior. If it changes how you're talking, if it changes how you guys behave with each other, how the kids are playing the game together, but even outside, after you've been playing the game, we'll take the game away.
We're less present in our kids' lives, he says, because technology is more present, making parenting today, at the very least, extremely complicated. Mike Edgell, Global News.
Well, it feels like spring outside, but Leslie and others have a cold to remind us that it is November.
Yeah, and it's going to get worse before it gets better. That's the big difference between fall and spring. You know, your days are numbered when you have sunshine and temperatures in the mid to upper teens, and in some instances 20 degrees. And when you're seeing pictures like this coming into the studio. Oh. This from Rapid City, South Dakota. Snow, blowing snow, extreme wind chills. That's the definition pretty much of a blizzard, and blizzard warnings are in effect for both South Dakota, North Dakota, and winter storm warnings extending all the way up towards areas like Winnipeg. So there's a look at your blizzard. We'll talk more about this system because it will have a direct impact on our weather over the next couple of days. Don't worry, we're not calling for blizzard conditions, but we're going to talk more about that in just a second. First, I want to show you a couple of our Sky Tracker pictures coming in. We have plenty of them. This from the Kawartha Lakes area. Well, seeing Christine, beautiful shot saying it was their last canoe trip. Notice how barely any waves in the water, and you can see perfect reflections. Great day out on the water there. And from Rice Lake last night, Beautiful sunset, so people still enjoying the lakes as they're completely unfrozen. We have other pictures from the Ottawa area. This coming in new. We have one from St. Catharines. This was from Andrew, where the fog was there throughout much of the day, and they're actually planting new trees there at a nursery, and you can see the fog and all the people at work there. And from London, Les, you're going to like this one. A Blue Jay trying to decide, should he eat those peanuts? They're sitting on a Habs bag, and yeah, big game. Leaf Habs coming up here on Saturday. So just a couple of the pictures in Toronto. Temperatures this week, Monday, yes, we had some showers, but as we progress through the week, look at these highs, 18 degrees just about every day. Now tomorrow, we're going to have a high around 16, still well above our normal high of 8, but we're not going to have those crystal clear blue skies in the background, clouds increasing throughout the entire area, and we will see showers also towards the dinner hour. Probably around 4 or 5 o'clock is when I expect the rain to arrive. It'll last through the evening hours, but that temperature is still awfully warm compared to where we're going to be, say, Sunday and Monday. Here's a look at the tropics. This system now, Tropical Storm Paloma. Winds almost at hurricane force. It's moving up towards the north. We are forecasting this to become a Category 2 or 3 major hurricane affecting areas like the Caymans, back over towards Cuba, taking a very similar path, crossing Cuba, much like Ike did. Cuba's had 3 now, if this one becomes a major, 3 major hurricanes this year. So very active season, and we continue to watch this system, which will be bringing rain in the form of a cold front affecting Toronto, as I mentioned, tomorrow evening. But first, early in the day, Windsor is going to see that rain, and we see it now pushing through Lake Michigan. So futurecast, there's that high-pressure system giving us all the nice weather, shifting off to the east. Tomorrow, here comes the cold front. Good news, that front's going to continue off towards the east, so it looks like improving conditions, although cooler this weekend. For tonight, mostly clear skies, areas of fog once again. Tomorrow, showers across the north and west first, then late in the day across eastern areas, and on Saturday, still the risk of showers, only a high of 12. 8 on Sunday with a couple showers, and that's when lake effect snow will begin Sunday night across central Ontario, and we could see several centimeters by Monday afternoon, and it remains cool through much of next week.
I see a double digit at the end there. 10. Are we going to
10
go back up?
Looks like a mini heat wave, not just sustained.
Heat wave.
Yeah.
Positive thinking.
There you go.
Thank you.
Well, the winners of last Saturday's massive $40 million Lotto 649 jackpot have finally stepped forward to claim their prize. The winners, 4 employees of NAV Canada, 3 spouses, were doing their happy dance today when they picked up their big check. 2 of the employees are retiring right away, but they say it's only a matter of time until they all say bye-bye.
Yeah.
There's 3 people in this section. I'm the manager of it, and Stan and Nancy are my employees. We went in to see our boss and told her that she's going to have a staffing problem very shortly.
This is the largest single winning ticket in Ontario history. The winners checked their tickets several times. They just could not believe their good luck.
For the rest of us, the financial crisis has a lot of us keeping a tighter grip on our wallets these days. But it seems that's not the case when it comes to warehouse sales. In this edition of Consumer SOS, Sean O'Shea finds out why, even in tough times, they are such a big draw for shoppers.
To the savvy shopper, this is retail heaven. A warehouse sale, stocked with what you want at prices you're prepared to pay.
And it's good quality, and it's worthwhile coming here.
Even in the midst of a financial downturn, consumers are lining up, sometimes for more than an hour, for the chance to spend money.
If my husband's watching, probably too much, probably around $300 or $400.
The William Ashley Warehouse Sale is a 33-year tradition where bargain hunters joyfully part with their money. In this economy, business is actually up.
We found an increase this year in that we had 20% more inquiries this year than we've had in previous years about this event. So people were really anxious to come out and be part of the annual warehouse sale.
Even though they're not buying essentials, customers are buying ahead of time for events down the road.
For anniversaries, for weddings, for birthdays, any event they have all year, they're coming and doing their shopping now for the entire year.
Warehouse sales thrive when times are tough.
Because I'm a student and on a tight budget.
Brent Cheney's buying a bargain price blazer at the Tom's Place warehouse sale at the Miles Nadal JCC. Twice a year for 17 years, owner Tom Mihalik has taken truckloads of clothes on the road. Michael Chapin figures he saved big.
A quarter to a third. It looks like a spectacular deal.
Chapman got this suit for a steal.
$1,650 for 5 of them, but we charged the gentleman 20% of the price, which is $330.
And while we're interviewing customers for this story, Tom pulls some retail razzle-dazzle, upping the discount ante.
It's $10, $15, and $25 each. Until Global TV is here, everything is $10.
This is not the kind of sale you find at the shopping mall.
It's not necessarily losing money. We're making new customers.
Customers are finding bargains at a time when most of the retail world is hurting.
Now, the warehouse sales aren't completely immune to economic forces. Tom tells me even his clothing business is down, but as a discounter, he's got the flexibility to lower prices and try to generate some more consumer interest. Many retailers are petrified about the upcoming Christmas season, but those who are cutting prices, offering more value, are not quite so anxious. Well, Scotch whiskey is about to get more expensive at the LCBO, and some brands will disappear altogether. The company that distributes Scotch around the world is raising prices because of increasing demand in places like China, India, and Russia. The LCBO says by year's end, it will likely stop stocking 3 brands: Bell's Scotch, Black and White Blended, and Johnnie Walker Green Label. And more proof that computer users are moving more toward laptops. The latest U.S. sales figures show more laptops were sold in the third quarter than desktops for the first time ever. Experts say the growth of wireless internet connections has spurred the laptop sales. By 2012, they say desktops will only account for 20% of all computer sales. Expect to see plenty of video gamers lined up outside electronics stores tonight, waiting for one of the season's most hotly anticipated games. Gears of War 2 for the Xbox 360 hits shelves tomorrow, but future shops around the province will be opening their doors at midnight to offer eager gamers an early chance to get their hands on the game. That is Consumer SOS. If you have a consumer complaint, a comment, a story idea, send me an email at sos@globaltv.com. Phone me toll free 866-767-1414, 866-767-1414.
When you were doing that story at Tom's place, was that everything in the store
no,
for $10?
On several tables, but it really got the customers interested.
And did you pick up a few things?
No time, all work, no play.
Of course, of course. Thanks. I'm going back there with you. Thanks, Sean.
Okay.
Michael J. Fox motivates so many people, but which Canadian actor inspires him? Find out after the break.
We will do so. Also ahead, we are counting down to a Toronto holiday tradition. Coming up next on the NewsHour, we get a behind-the-scenes look at Santa's warehouse as the jolly old man gets ready for the annual Santa Claus parade. There he is.
Here at our remote test facility, we put the Nissan Altima through over 5,000 extreme tests to help ensure long-lasting quality and durability. Of course, you'd never treat yours that way, right?
Sorry.
The Nissan Altima, made to drive, built to last.
Making your money grow can be exciting, but it has its ups and downs. A sure thing is hard to find, and you want a sure thing. Where do you start? With an investment savings account from ING Direct. It pays investment-grade interest from the very first dollar you deposit, and it will never make you pay a service charge. Keep saving, and your money will only go in one direction. In a world of ups and downs, it's rock solid. Call. Save your money.
You can't control when you get a cold sore, but you can help get rid of it fast with non-prescription Abreva. It's the #1 pharmacist-recommended cold sore remedy. Abreva is the only cold sore treatment that prevents entry of the virus into surrounding cells, limiting its ability to spread. When applied at the first sign of a cold sore, Abreva is clinically proven to speed healing. So don't suffer from a cold sore longer than you have to. Help get rid of it fast with clinically proven Abreva. This has been Medifax for Abreva.
Hey, Merry Christmas. Let's brighten, let's sparkle, let's deck every hall.
Look!
You're right, we do need a wreath.
Yeah, but there's snow and sparkles and trees and magic.
What sort of wreath are you thinking about?
Let's holiday this season at Lowe's, Canada's home improvement warehouse.
Below 7 degrees, all-season tires lose their grip. Winter tires are made differently. They give you better traction and better braking in winter conditions. Get a grip on winter with brand name tires from $89.95 each, installation and balancing included. GM Goodwrench, expert service at competitive prices. Visit your GM Goodwrench dealer today.
Spend a night at the Royal Ontario Museum for your chance to win the ultimate family experience at the Rom Kids Sleepover. Log on to globaltvontario.com.
Well, here in Toronto, we get a lot of visitors, but there is one person that everyone, young and old, waits all year long to see. That man, of course, is Santa Claus.
Won't be long. His annual parade will be making its way through the city very soon. Susan Hay is at Santa's secret workshop with a look at what he and his helpers have in store this year. Hi, Susan.
Hi, everybody. I know it's hard to believe, but it's that time of year again when Santa comes to town to celebrate the 104th annual Santa Claus Parade right here on Global. The 5.7-kilometer parade, which consists of 22 floats, 22 bands, 200 clowns, and more than 1,500 volunteers, and of course Santa.
Merry Christmas!
Well, it's no wonder. This parade has become a Toronto tradition and the world's longest-running children's parade. And joining me now is parade co-chair and celebrity clown for the last 26 years, Ron Barbaro. Ron, why are you so honored to be in this parade again?
Well, Susan, you know, life doesn't get any better than this. When you can volunteer with thousands of other people and millions of people are watching an event that's been going for 104 years, why not volunteer? And we've proven, as we did in 1982, that Santa Claus is recession-proof. Every year, thousands of people show up. We give away thousands of pieces of candy, and it's 5 miles of smiles. I love it.
The parade will feature brand new floats and returning fan favorites like Mother Goose and Santa's Workshop. And once again, Leslie and I will be hosting. Wait a minute, you're not Leslie. Santa, it's okay, because the first time Global Television will have our very own float, and we'll be broadcasting live from the North Pole.
You guys will be the first.
See you at the parade.
That was terrific. I can hardly wait. It is going to be a busy parade day next Sunday. First up, before the parade, come on down to Dundas Square for the first annual President's Choice Financial Santa Claus Parade Breakfast that's presented by Global.
You're going to be there with Anthony?
Anthony and I will be there. I am not cooking. I'm only serving. It happens between 9 and 11. It'll be hosted by Anthony and I, and free food for, I believe, the first 5,000 people.
Wow. There'll be lots of entertainment as well, and the first 5,000 people get that grab-and-go breakfast. Then later, that afternoon, as you heard from Susan, we're going to be hosting this year's big parade. It's going to be airing at 4 p.m. right here on Global, so you can go down there, watch the parade, and get home and watch it from your television set beginning at 4 o'clock. That's a week Sunday.
We want to show you the day's entertainment headlines now. Here's Rick Campanelli of ET Canada. Hi, Rick.
Thanks, Anne-Marie. Last night, Michael J. Fox hosted his Big Apple Gala to raise money for Parkinson's research, and he said he was truly inspired by Ryan Reynolds, who also ran the New York City Marathon in support of his cause.
You know, I was on the street and saw Ryan run by in the marathon on Saturday, and it's so great. I mean, it's always touching to me when somebody is inspired by a family member or someone they know has Parkinson's, and then so they decide to get involved, and then they choose to work with us. I mean, it's such a vote of confidence. It's so humbling.
Now back in Toronto, Patti LaBelle kicked off Christmas by performing at the annual lighting of the Holt Renfrew window display on Bloor Street. But the R&B soul legend really lit up when she imagined Barack Obama moving into the White House.
He's every man. He's black, he's white, he's blue, he's everything. He's every man. He's every man. A black lady, first lady in the White House, she gonna fry that chicken, honey, and grease that bad boy up. I can't wait to come over there and help her cook. So it's gonna be a whole nother movie. It's gonna be a difference. Yeah. It's a difference was made last night. Yeah.
Now coming up on ET Canada at 7, the latest twist in the Ryan Gosling-Rachel McAdams romance, plus a possible Britney Spears and Justin Timberlake reunion in LA. Those stories and more, Anne-Marie, coming up on Entertainment Tonight Canada.
Thanks, Rick.
Well, a favorite Toronto event is coming back for another year, and we've got a sneak peek at what's in store. Well, get those cows looking pretty. They'll be the center of attention pretty soon when the Royal Agricultural Winter Fair opens its doors. We're going to take you inside next on the News Hour.
And good evening, everyone. I'm Glenn Sheeler. Coming up in sports, the Leafs are back on the ice tonight, looking to stop a hot Bruins squad. We'll get you set for that. Plus, Jermaine O'Neal still trying to find his groove with the Raptors. We'll hear from J.O. on his early struggles, all next on the News Hour.
The Global News Hour Entertainment Update is brought to you by Liberty Grand, Toronto's premier event facility. Make your next event a grand event.
Your child's future in jeopardy. A stock market slump means saving for your child's education just got risky. RESPs find out what your investment means in today's economy.
Your family, your city, your news. The News Hour, tomorrow at 6 on Global.
Paid for the light, but you may still slide. Baby, it's not your sleigh ride, but this year is ours. Maybe tomorrow.
Here at our remote test facility, we put the Nissan Altima through over 5,000 extreme tests to help ensure long-lasting quality and durability through whatever the world throws at it. The Nissan Altima, made to drive, built to last.
I spy with my little eye. I don't need to wonder why. Flowers bloom, little birds sing. All around, just little things so blue.
Collect this season's new shape makers for a limited time only in Rice Krispies and Holiday Fruit Loop cereals.
If you love animals, then Exhibition Place is definitely where you want to be this weekend.
The Royal Agricultural Winter Fair, a true Toronto tradition, is back for another year. Now, the Royal doesn't kick off until tomorrow, but we got a sneak peek inside today as workers continue to set up for the big show. The 10-day celebration of animals and agriculture offers something for the whole family, from horse shows to square dancing competitions to some lazy pigs, apparently, and even some great food. Hopefully not the same.
That's some early shots of the food.
Yeah, before as opposed to after. Save us out here, will you, Glenn?
I'll try with some sports. We'll start with the Raptors. For Jermaine O'Neal right now, it's a classic battle of man versus self. O'Neal is so used to dominating on the court throughout his career, but after a couple of injury-filled seasons, he's finding it hasn't been so easy finding that all-star form with the Raptors. This is not how Jermaine O'Neal envisioned his first days as a Toronto Raptor, and the offensive struggles aren't sitting well with the six-time NBA All-Star.
You know, every game I'm like, okay, next game's my game, you know, to get going. And, you know, when you come off an injury and you've been at a certain level for so long, you know, you come back, you know, with the bar set extremely high. And it's a lot more frustrating when you can't get to that bar as quick as you wanted to get to it.
We didn't do what we were supposed to do collectively as a team.
It had nothing to do with how Jermaine played as an individual while we lost the basketball game.
The good news for the Raptors is that O'Neal is healthy, which was the biggest question mark heading into the season, and they've at least been in every game without O'Neal dominating like he can. Toronto's prized offseason acquisition says he just has to stay aggressive, and the rest will come naturally.
If I was making moves and I wasn't able to get to the position that that I was supposed to get to, then I have a lot more concern. But just basically the ball going in the net. I'm making good pivot moves and stuff like that. But again, I gotta try to find a way to get to the free throw line early. And a lot of times the free throw line helps guys' rhythm.
Next up for the Raptors is their first road trip of the season. 3 games through Atlanta, Charlotte, and then a date with defending NBA champion Boston. A tough test indeed, but Chris Bosh sees it as a chance for the team to solidify an identity.
I mean, don't get me wrong, I like home, but having road games early, that's good for the team bonding experience because we have to come together, especially in a hostile environment.
It's a tough road trip, but we looked at our schedule early and we knew early our season was going to be, the game's going to be extremely tough because we got more games on the road than at home, and we understand that, but so far we've played pretty decent on the road.
Well, the Leafs are happy to be out of the path of the Hurricanes after allowing 11 goals to Carolina in a home-and-home series. But it doesn't get any easier as they face a Bruins team that has won 4 of its last 5. Toronto, though, is the only team to beat Boston by more than a goal this season. While the Leafs are struggling, the Senators are surging. Ottawa 3-0-1 in their last 4, allowing just 7 goals in that span. They face a well-rested Flyers squad, though, that has averaged more goals per game than any other team in the NHL this season. And the first of 7 straight weeks of Thursday Night Football starts tonight, featuring a matchup of 2 struggling teams. The Browns will turn to rookie quarterback Brady Quinn, who will make his first career start in place of the ineffective Derek Anderson, while Jay Cutler and the Broncos have dropped 3 straight to fall to 4-4. Of course, we'll have full highlights of the Leafs, Senators, and some NFL football coming up at 11, guys.
All right, thank you, Glenn.
You're welcome.
Well, the U.S. election campaign might be over. That certainly does not mean the Republicans' pick for vice president is being let off the hook.
It was like the Wasilla Beverly Hillbillies looting Neiman Marcus.
Ooh, that's harsh. New details about Sarah Palin's spending spree and other surprising details about the Alaskan governor's time on the campaign trail. We've got that and a whole lot more for you coming up next on the News Hour.
For you. 2 days after John McCain's quest for the White House came to a crashing halt, running mate Sarah Palin is coming under even more scrutiny.
And the criticism of Palin is coming directly from inside the McCain camp. Peter Alexander explains the revelations that are leaving many stunned.
Newsweek magazine had inside access to the campaigns and reports that a senior aide claimed Palin was told to buy 3 suits for the Republican National Convention, but instead began buying for herself and her family, allegedly spending tens of thousands more than the $150,000 figure already reported.
One very angry McCain aide used the phrase, it was like the Wasilla Beverly Hillbillies looting Neiman Marcus.
We laugh about that criticism, and if only people, come on up and travel with us to Alaska and see this diva lifestyle that I supposedly live or would demand, because that's just false.
At the convention, Newsweek reports, Palin was completely unfazed by the boys' club fraternity that she had just joined, describing one incident when 2 top McCain advisors came to her hotel room for a briefing.
Governor Palin came sailing through the room wearing just a towel and another towel wrapped around her head, and asked them to hold on for just a moment while she got ready in the next room.
And in McCain's Arizona concession speech Tuesday night, the magazine reports Palin wanted to speak as well, but a campaign strategist vetoed her request. Back in Wasilla, Palin's loyal supporters were already looking ahead.
We have 4 years to roll up our sleeves and elect Sarah Palin as the first female president of these great United States.
Lots of criticism about her clothing budget, but there was also some discussion that came to light they can only reveal, as they promised the McCain camp, after the election, including she couldn't name the members of NAFTA, and she also didn't know that Africa was a continent.
Right.
She thought it was just a country.
Yeah.
Says a lot, does it not?
There was no South before that, Africa. Or anything.
Yeah. Anyway, it's interesting how these stories are coming to light.
After.
Yes.
Yeah.
Let's talk about the forecast now.
Yeah, let's take a look at now.
Safer territory than others.
Exactly.
For tomorrow.
She can see Canada from her Oh no, that's Russia.
That's your
Sorry.
foreign exchange. Anyways, we'll leave it at that. Increasing clouds tomorrow, still very warm, 16 degrees. I do expect the rain to begin probably around the 3 or 4 o'clock hour, if not a little bit later. So that's going to be for the commute home, or if you're heading up to the cottage for maybe one more weekend. Much cooler this weekend. Also a quick update. It's just been upgraded to a hurricane, Hurricane Paloma. So we'll have more on that coming up at 11 as well.
All right, that's it for us. ET Canada's next. Have a great evening.
Good night.